And we're live. What's going on, guys? This is episode 83 with Live with Kenny. And we're going to talk about a lot of things. First, Mark Zuckerberg nukes DEI, also exposes the Democrats for censorship and how much pressure they put on him to censorship as well. Democrats are not making history in the right way, as I can tell you that. Going on with California, their record, fire damage. And I want to give you guys a history lessons because this DEI is really on the decline, bro, from coaches not wanting to take part in it, from it seemed like every historic F up, DI was seen as, oh, this was what the people were making a priority, right? From Kamala Harris becoming the Democratic nominee to being the first woman to certify her own defeat. Democrats are not making history the correct way, bro. But hey, enough about me in the lead up. I want to jump straight into the story. And we'll do a little history lesson here, right, with the Democrats, right? Because we're talking about DEI here. So I want to highlight how the fire chief says that the Democratic leadership had failed her. And I want to start it off with this video, this clip, because it kind of encapsulates kind of the finger pointing that's going on in this whole situation with California, to the point where Gavin Newsom doesn't even want to take responsibility for it, to the point that Gavin Newsom himself is even telling Joe Biden to do something about criticism. And you're going to see a lot here that a lot of Democrats are out there trying to run defense, play defense for the Democratic Party. And one thing that I want to outline here is that it just goes to show how tribal the left really is that they can't even acknowledge that mistakes were made that led up to the circumstances in which Californians found themselves in. So without further ado, let's get into the clip.
Did the city of Los Angeles fail you and your department and our city?
It's my job to stand up as a chief and exactly say justifiably what the fire department needs to operate to meet the demands of the community.
Did they fail you?
That is our job, and I tell you, that's why I'm here. So let's get us what we need so our firefighters can do their jobs.
Did they fail you?
Yes.
Damn. You know, you know she didn't want to say it. You know she didn't want to say it. The first fire chief woman did not want to say it. And Democrats are out here trying to play defense for the Democrats and their leadership, their failed leadership, right? This is Victor Shi. Apparently, he's known as a liberal defender because I try to be fair on this channel. I try to hear everyone out. From the leftists also brought up the fact that Greg Abbott oversaw one of the largest fire damages in Texas history. And I'm gonna tell you the difference between Greg Abbott facing wildfires versus Gavin Newsom. But before then, let's get into what Victor Shi says here. Victor Shi, and this is the narrative that they try to play. For fact's sake, there is no $17 million cut to Los Angeles Fire Department budget this year. In fact, there was a $50 million increase in the Los Angeles Fire Department. Cold, hard facts. Full stop, period. Didn't give any references, so I don't believe you, Victor Shi. To those who spread misinformation, issue corrections now. He spread misinformation. The city fire department budget was cut by more than $17.5 million. That's what Incel says. Hey, Ken, hope you're having a great year so far. It's been a great year so far. I mean, a lot of politics to cover, a lot of stuff to cover. This is sad that we have to cover this situation here, but let's go down a history lesson for all the Democrats trying to run defense for Gavin Newsom. So when you bring up the fact that Gavin Newsom effectively oversaw some of the worst response and management of prevention of this wildfire, I'm gonna give you a history lesson. What was the largest fire damage in history? The worst wildfire in California history is the Camp Fire, which leveled the town of Paradise in November 2018. 85 people lost their lives in the inferno, with more than 18,000 structures that was destroyed. Now, current day, this is setting up to be one of the biggest F-ups in wildfire history for California. 10 people already died. 10,000 structures burned in Los Angeles area inferno, as fire damage could exceed $150 billion. Now, the left will tell you, oh, Greg Abbott experiences wildfires and y'all didn't call for his job. Well, the difference between Greg Abbott and Mr. Gavin Newsom here is Gavin Newsom has been in politics since 2004. starting his stint as the mayor of San Francisco. Between the years 2011 to 2019, he served as the lieutenant governor of California. So you were the lieutenant governor of California when this happened, Gavin Newsom. And also in 2019, Gavin Newsom experienced a smaller wildfire, still a wildfire with Trump. And now in 2025, he still can't deal with the problem, right? Like, make it make sense. So Gavin Newsom was part of the 2 worst wildfires in California history, and you don't think he should resign? And you wonder why Gavin Newsom is asking Biden to combat criticism over his disastrous fire response. Why you got liberals out here running defense for the Democrats? Oh no, we can't call for Gavin Newsom to resign. It's not his fault. It was climate change. Making excuses for the guy. Gavin Newsom had asked President Joe Biden during a video conference call on Friday afternoon to combat criticism over his disastrous response to the wildfire that erupted this week. Newsom's call with Biden came after several fire erupts in Los Angeles, and it seems like arsonists are causing these wildfires. On Tuesday, as that in the matter of a few days destroyed approximately 10,000 structures and caused $50 billion in damages and economic loss. And a lot of people lost their houses in this. A lot of people, like, it's one thing, Gavin Newsom, right, to sit here and say, oh, you know, it was an exception to the rule. But your entire tenure, you've been dealing with wildfires, and you still don't know how to respond to them yet? Making history in the wrong ways, right? Officials urge calm as the LA fires shut down a main fuel pipeline to Las Vegas. Imagine that. Las Vegas is not going to be able to get fuel. Massive lines reported at gas stations across Las Vegas as residents began panic buying. So not only did Gavin Newsom's response and sitting there twiddling his thumbs, right? Because this might go down as the most historic F-up, the most historic mismanagement in history in an emergency by the Democratic Party, by Gavin Newsom. And y'all thought this guy would be a contender? This guy pretty much shot any chance he had at 2028. Gavin Newsom. And I already warned Democrats. I was trying to be fair. I told Democrats, hey, 2028, don't nominate a California Democrat as your nominee for president of the United States in 28, Democrats. And God was like, I got you. I'll make it even more apparent. You effing up so bad, Gavin Newsom, that Las Vegas are panic buying gas right now. Trying to calm people down. This is absurd. In an abundance of caution due to the fires in California, the main pipeline that brings gasoline and other fuels to Las Vegas valleys looked to face temporary disruptions in services. So you're effing up so bad, it's messing up what's going on in another state. Cheeseworks, what's up? Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Cheeseworks. Happy New Year. Imagine effing up so bad that now this wildfire is disrupting gas flowing into Las Vegas. According to local media, the CalNav pipeline system is responsible for 90% of Clark County's fuel supply. Woo! We want to reassure you that there's no emergency or immediate cause for concern. There should be cause for concern, right? Because these guys, they're not competent leadership. Come on now. But this is the narrative they've been preaching to us since I was a kid. Republicans can't govern. When Greg Abbott was dealing with his wildfire, I don't remember it being this bad. But Gavin Newsom, you was lieutenant governor during the worst. 2011 to 2019, you was lieutenant governor during the largest fire in California's history in 2018. Now you're the governor and you're overseeing a wildfire, 5 different wildfires that in total cause $150 billion in damages. Hey, California, if this doesn't wake you up to stop voting for Democrat, I don't know what is. Because one of the reasons why I say nominating a California Democrat as for your political party in 2028 is that these people are so out of touch. These people are so comfortable just running things, trying to look good instead of actually being good. This is the results right here. This is the results. They prioritize things like having the first woman be fire chief. How about making sure she's qualified? How about having the most qualified person be fire chief? She's telling you she didn't get any support from leadership. I'm agreeing with Cenk Uygur. That's how big of a mess up that the Democrats have effed up. They're not making history in the right way, guys. When a politician says not to politicize something, they're politicizing it by trying to avoid responsibility for their political actions. Damn, I can't believe I'm agreeing with Cenk Uygur. Hell's freezing over right now, guys. I'm agreeing with Cenk Uygur. Sorry, my mistake. This is how y'all gonna make history, Democrats? Yo, Trump is winning. Trump is winning. Trump is the definition of a W, guys. When you look in the definition of W's and say who's a winner, you see Trump. Who's a loser? You see Democrats. Whether it be Hakeem Jeffries, Kamala Harris is the biggest. Her picture is the biggest one on there. California and especially LA is controlled by Democrats. They're responsible. No more passing the buck. If you try to absolve Democrats of responsibility here, you're playing politics. That's just my thoughts. Our mayor, who has been in Ghana as the fires explode in our city, cut the fire budget by $17 million. Endless amount of money funneled to BS scammer, homeless nonprofits. I mean, the California has invested, $24 billion in homelessness over 5 years. And guess what, guys? What's the outcomes? Let's play math. $24 billion over 5 years. What's the outcome? You expect homelessness to go down, correct? Nope, opposite happened. Homelessness went up. How you invest $24 billion into solving homelessness and homelessness increase, not decrease? We are the highest taxed, yet we have encampments and squalors everywhere. Even worse, we don't have enough firefighters to respond to the absolute disaster. I wonder why. Oh, DEI. And what's the racial group that produce most of the firefighters? White men, white people. Just like if it, I wouldn't be offended if someone said, "Hey, the black people are the people. Black Americans are the black America are the ones that produce the most athletes." And then you put a DEI quota where you discriminate against black players, so there's more representation in the NBA. The same thing will happen. There's a shortage of NBA players because you discriminated against the people who tend to do these jobs. We're experiencing right now, rather than conserve the rainwater we got last year, we just drained it into the ocean. We are a failing city run by a sick excuse for a local government. You want to radicalize people against the modern Democratic Party? Send them to LA. Ooh, boy, damning indictment. Damning indictment indeed. If you want to red pill somebody, you send them to California. California. Now, I don't mean to, be jovial over this, but elections has consequences, guys. I guarantee you, nobody cares whether someone's responding to a fire or a medical call that looks like you. This is a luxury belief, so luxurious that it can actually kill you because of how utterly detached from reality it is. And this is one statement that I want to stand on, is that the fact that the Democrats are trying to absolve responsibility from California, from Democrats, they're trying to blame climate change and all this stuff. A lot of people see that the reality is, you don't want accountability. You don't want to actually fix the problem. Democrats are too busy trying to look good instead of actually being good. Because if the Democrats were trying to be good, they'll take responsibility and say, it was our fault. It wasn't a smart move to cut the fire budget. It wasn't a smart move to focus on DEI and care about racial, what was it called? Racial competency, racial harmony. Like, who cares about this stuff? Can you get the job done? My mom looks like me. My sisters look like me. I don't need people responding to an emergency or anyone really to look like me. What a self-aggrandizing, vain thing to do. That's narcissism. This is narcissism. Look, I ain't gonna lie. I believe the people who push for representation, DEI, I think you kind of expose yourself as a semi-narcissist. This is just my thoughts. If I'm in a crisis, I actually want people who look like they're dripping in toxic masculinity to come to save my ass. And this is why DEI, this is why Democrats are making history. They project ludicrous ideas, and for what? To put you at jeopardy so that way people can live out a fantasy. So that they can live out their theories. A smart man once said that if you have a theory in reality and you test it in reality and reality show you that your theory is wrong, you must accept that your theory is wrong. And we tried the theory of DEI, and it seemed like everywhere the theory of DEI has applied, it has caused worse outcomes, worse management, and I got more reasons. I got more to show you. 2025, legitimately, 2024 was a referendum against DEI. No one's taking it anymore. DEI is racism under new management. DEI is sexism under new management. DEI just pushes more discrimination. And what's the cost of more discrimination? You get a illy ran product.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better.
These people act like being black is like being born to like a different species. I'm not a dog. Like, we're human. If you can speak English, that's all I need. Hey, look, I got fire in my roof. As long as you understand the words that's coming out of my mouth, that's as much representation that I need. But this is what California was focused on. That's what California was focused on. Now he's asking Biden, can you do something about people criticizing me?
I ask.
Right, let me put it full screen because I got to hear this. Weakness. He should resign, guys. He should resign. But hey, it's not up to us. It's not up to us to decide whether Gavin Newsom gets to keep his job or not. That's for Californians to decide. As soon as my stuff stops spazzing out, I can continue with the video. So let's take a hear of how he wants Biden to do something about the criticism.
We've got to deal with this misinformation. There were hurricane force winds of mis and disinformation, lies. People want to divide this country, and we're going to have to address that as well. And it breaks my heart as people are suffering and struggling that we're up against those hurricane forces as well. And that's just a point of personal privilege that I share that with you because it infects real people that are out there.
Yeah, you.
People I meet every single day, people the mayor's been meeting with, and they're having conversations that are not the typical conversations you'd have at this time. And you wonder where this stuff comes from. And it's very damaging as well. But we're
damaging to you, your party, your image, your brand. Democrats know how to govern. Nah. This is some craziness here. And for what? All to absolve Democrats of accountability. Right? Is this what we're doing now? Gavin Newsom asks, can you stop the criticism against me? As your F up is causing this in Las Vegas. LA fire threatens gas supply. Las Vegas citizens are now in full buy now mode. Look at this. This is in Los Angeles, guys. All because of what Gavin Newsom decided to do or not to do. And when he was confronted, and you guys saw my videos, I made a video about it, right? Gavin Newsom got confronted. He was like, oh, I'm talking to the president right now. Oh, put him on speaker. I got no service. Liar. Boy, hey, I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it there. I think I talked enough about Gavin Newsom, right? Let me look at the comments before I move on. But the city in Angel Eggs looks way better than California right now. California looked like a war zone. If you guys have not seen pictures of California, California looks like a war zone. And not only that, looters are taking advantage of the fire, the chaos, and destruction to loot and rob people right now in real time. Also, there's people, Los Angeles residents themselves have to go out of their way to stop arsonists from causing more fires. But they're going to blame climate change. Oh, climate change is real. Yeah, okay. Yo, these people don't have a good record whatsoever. It's baffling to me. There's no point. Like, at this point, Democrats, y'all dug yourselves in such a big hole, bro. I'll be surprised if anyone takes this party seriously anymore. But I digress. I think I'm really done railing against California now and Newsom's incompetence. Right. So we're gonna go to what we should talk about. Should we talk about? Yeah, let's go with the actual reason y'all kind of came here for. So Meta nukes DEI program as Zuckerberg joins Joe Rogan podcast. Zuck is trying to get on the right side of history. Am I right? A Dance with Incel says Cali is a lost cause. Hey, who knows? Maybe this will wake them up. Because if you watch my videos that I put out, they got a lot of damages. A lot of Hollywood actors lost their homes. I think Mel Gibson, when he was recording a podcast with Joe Rogan, he lost his house as the fire was burning and destroying his house. But enough of that. Let's talk about, we're talking about Mark Zuckerberg right now. Days after Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg eliminated politically biased fact checkers, on the same day his Joe Rogan podcast episode was dropped, Business Insider leaked an internal memo revealing that Meta dialed back its diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. The legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing. Yes, because many people, if you're a critically thinking individual, you realize that DEI violates Title IX. You cannot discriminate based on gender, race, and sexual orientation. Who's discriminated against gender, race, and sexual orientation? Say it with me. White, straight men. Boom. There's a reason why. I talk about this story all the time. There's a reason why that Starbucks manager won millions of dollars. A white lady got fired from Starbucks because she was a white lady. Also, does anyone think Mark Zuckerberg is looks maxing like crazy lately? He looks pretty good. Pause. He is. I think he is. This man, I don't know. I think he started doing jujitsu or something. Man's turning out to be a real bro. So I digress. Let's get into the article. The Supreme Court of the United States has recently made decisions signaling a shift in how courts will approach DEI. Gail pointed out the term DEI has also become charged, in part because it is understood by some as a practice that suggests preferential treatment of some groups over others. Is that not what DEI is? How other else you can, if someone told you, explain to me what DEI is, isn't DEI not preferential treatment of some groups over others? And I can validate this claim. If it's not about preferential treatment, why don't you apply DEI in the NBA, the NFL, these leagues that are overrepresentative of minorities? The white community make up 66% of America. How come there's no white representation in the NBA? The NBA is 74% black. So why is not DEI installed in the NBA? Because it is about preferential treatment. So stop playing the games. Meta is the largest mega corporation to roll back toxic DEI initiatives following Walmart and McDonald's. A guy named Robbie Starbuck, he has a list of all the corporations that have pulled back on DEI. The trends have turned in corporate America, and the re-election of Donald Trump will accelerate and ensure Marxist DEI initiatives are replaced with meritocracy, not just in corporate America, but across government and the military. And don't we need it at all? Like, honestly, I think if Kamala Harris had won, I think DEI, the push for DEI would have been even stronger. But enough about me just talking and ranting. I want to show a clip. I think this is him talking about how he was pressured by Joe Biden and the Democrats to ban speech, essentially. So let's get into it, and let's react to Mark Zuckerberg's interview.
And all that stuff scares the shit out of me. That kind of stuff scares the shit out of me when the government gets involved in what could be termed election interference, but through some weird loophole, it's legal. Whereas some
I don't think
interference,
that the pushing for social media companies to censor stuff was legal. I mean, it's like that's. Right. I mean, there's all this stuff about what, like, people talk about the First Amendment and okay, these tech platforms should offer free speech like the First Amendment. It's
Mark Zuckerberg, this man really take care of himself, huh? He went to the gym, he worked out. Right now he got a chain. This dude, bro. This man look human now. I remember there's some pictures of Mark Zuckerberg. He looked like a robot. Like he looked like iRobot type stuff. But I digress. Enough of me commenting about Mark Zuckerberg's looks. I blame Dance with Incels with this. He got me paying attention to this man. Let's continue.
That, I think, is a philosophical principle. The First Amendment doesn't apply to companies in our content moderation. It's more of an American ethos about how we think that best dialogue is carried out. But the First Amendment does apply to the government. That's like the whole point, right? Is the government is not allowed to censor this stuff. So at some level, I do think that having people in the administration calling up the guys on our team and yelling at them and cursing and threatening repercussions if we don't take down things that are true is like, it's pretty bad.
Yo, I'm telling you, Democrats, y'all not making the right kind of history out here, man. Y'all are not making the right kind of history.
I was very happy.
Like, imagine being known as the party that Soviet Union style. Hey, if you don't censor these opinions, you may not show up tomorrow in the morning. This company name may not be around here in the morning. Literally, like the mafia. Biden had calling up people like the mafia, like, yo, if you ain't censoring this stuff, Mark Zuckerberg, I don't think your company's going to be around. Craziness. If you ever feel bad about your life, realize that Amy Schumer could have been your mom. What? And some poor slut got her pregnant. Wow. This is, I don't know, Amy Schumer. Oh my God, damn, y'all savage for that one. Y'all are savage for that one. So this is, I want to ask the chat a question. Do you think Mark Zuckerberg is sincere, right? Him coming on Joe Rogan, him moving up his trust and safety team to Texas, him defunding the fact checkers, independent fact checkers out of Facebook and going and switching over to a community notes? Or you just see this as he's just trying to be competitive with Twitter, he's seeing what Elon Musk did, and he's just adopting what's working right now? I'd like to hear your thoughts on this, guys, because he got Dana White as part of his board. I don't know. I think a lot of action that Mark Zuckerberg is doing, it's going the right direction. That's all I'm gonna say. And I think this shows a victory on our part, is that the DEI stuff, the woke stuff, it ain't popular no more. People are tired of it. People are honestly tired of it. Actually, and I don't want to get copyrighted by Joe Rogan, honestly, but DEI is so much out of vogue, right? We're going to DEI, is that I don't know if you guys watch football, but it doesn't matter in the context of this conversation. But there's a guy, right, that making history. There's a bad way to make history. My thoughts has always been, I don't want the least qualified person who just happens to be black to get a job, because then now set up this narrative, and which is going on right now, where the first black whatever is nothing more than a ploy to continue the social construct of black people having this inferiority complex, as if it's rare or impossible for black people to reach a certain level of success. I respect this man's answer 1000. America's too fixated on race and sexuality. Correction. The left, liberals, are too focused on race and sexuality, and they project that wherever they have cultural, social, or industry dominance, like journalism. This is why you're going to have this sports journalist ask this biracial man, like, this is, look, as a father of biracial kids, this irritates me, right? That if someone were to come and ask my son how it feels to be the first whatever, the answer I expect my son to say, I am the first biracial blah, 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 blah. Right? Because the minute you say I'm the first Hispanic this, he denies my contributions to creating him. The minute they say first black that, they deny my wife's heritage. Right? So this is why I had a problem with people pushing Kamala Harris. That's why in my videos, if you guys notice, when I address Kamala Harris, I always say she's a black woman in air quotes, because she's mixed. No black woman look like Kamala Harris. Let's be real. No black woman have hair like Kamala Harris. She's mixed. She's mixed with Indian. Hindu, as Joe Brown liked to say it. And the fact that the sports ESPN is so fixated, because this guy, he's about to be the first biracial, I'm joking around now, biracial coach to make it to the national championship in college football as a coach. And you're going to love his answer. And this is the most, like, a part of me thinks that the Democrats really need identity politics to win, because It's core to their strategy of victory. And I'm gonna show you a quote by Thomas Sowell that exemplifies this strategy. So let's take a look at the clip and let's listen into this guy's answer to this woke journalist. Let's take a look.
You, because you are the first black head coach to go to a national championship game in college football.
That's a misstatement there. Does this man look black? Look, I'm black. Does this guy look like me? Hell nah. This guy look like my second born son. This guy is mixed with Asian and black. How you a black man? You come from an Asian woman. Make it make sense. This idea that mixed people, if they're mixed with black, they automatically makes them black, is coming from this dumb democratic idea of the one drop rule. What's more racist than the one drop rule? If you got one drop of black, it don't matter what else you're mixed with, you're black. Black Democrats perpetrate racism, white supremacy more than any other people they try to accuse other black people of doing. And this is why I always laugh when black Democrats call people like me, black conservatives, black independents who don't vibe with the Democratic message, coons. I always laugh. I'm like, y'all the biggest coons. You're so coonish that you think having one drop of black makes someone black. Man skin lighter than me. And black Democrats want you to think he black just like I am. Me who comes from 2 Haitian parents. He black like I'm black. Make it make sense. If percentage of blackness was a test, he fails the test. I'm at least 80% black. At least. This guy probably 50% black. And he passes black? If you get 50% on the test, you fail. The black community has a long way to go as far as culture and good values, particularly the women. I can't disagree. Black women are the least married, most divorced group of women in, I'll say America, because I'm an American. I only can speak about America. In America, black American women are the least married, most divorced group of women in America. Hey, there's something to that fact. A black man is more likely to be married than a black woman at this point. So yes, our culture do need work. And it doesn't help that majority of black men, black kids are raised by single mothers. So that don't actually help us. But I digress. We're talking about DEI here.
Just hearing that response alone, how much does this mean to you?
I've said this before. I don't ever want to take attention away from the team. It is an honor, and I hope all coaches, minorities, black, Asian, white, it doesn't matter, great people continue to get opportunities to lead young men like this.
Exactly.
This ain't about me, this is about us.
Like imagine, this is what I'm saying. People who push DEI, people who push wokeness, a part of me think they're semi-narcissistic. Think about it, it's all about me. It's not all about you. The only reason this guy's here is because his team performed at the level that they needed to perform to win the game. And he just happened to be a part of that. He was a factor, and he contributed to the success of the team, but this journalist tried to make it all about him because he represents some victim hierarchy that they want to push out. You're the first black head coach to make it to the national championship. Black where? He's mixed. He's biracial. If you're new to this channel, I don't consider Obama black. I don't even consider Obama black. We still don't have the first black president. If the black president don't look like me, he ain't black. I'm just saying. We had the first biracial president. Yes, Obama, first biracial president. Okay. First non-white president. Okay. But black? Come on, guys. And this all comes from this racist idea from the Democratic Party, the one drop rule. Does this dude look like a black dude to you? This guy looked like what my kids could look like in 20 years. That's what the guy looked like. I consider my kids biracial. Mix. This is some craziness. But this is how desperate black Democrats, black liberals are to push a narrative oh, look, affirmative action help black people. This is where they keep trying to tokenize people like him as black. And then black people get mad that there's colorism. Because people, right, black people who are influenced by other cultures, who wasn't influenced by the predominant toxic black culture that teaches you to be a victim. Like I didn't grow up with Black American culture. I grew up in a Haitian culture. A, resourceful. A, you gotta be smart. You only got 3 choices in life, Kenny: lawyer, engineer, doctor. That's it. that was my immigrant. If you were born from immigrant parents, that's the talk you got. You didn't get no, oh, if you fail the test, it's because of racism. Not my mom wouldn't accept that. You wonder why I talk so well, why I read books? My mom, hey, look, my mom's like A's and B's as a black man, right? And people who made fun of me were black men, other black men from African American communities, making fun of me because I could speak proper English. I speak standard English. I do well in school. I can do math without a calculator for the most part. They made fun of you. They make fun of you. Whatever your culture shames, you get less of. So if you have a culture that shames people for their intelligence, for their ability to adapt to an environment, is it any surprise that black men are at the bottom when it comes to education? No, it's not. Because that's what the black culture incentivizes. And that's why I said, show me the incentive, I'll show you the outcome. If black culture incentivizes people to be nothing but entertainers, athletes, rappers, is that the only way you can accept to be black? And if a black man goes against the stereotypes, if a black man goes against the box, I'm a black dude that likes anime, reads books. I read philosophy. What black dude you know reads philosophy? I used to get made fun of that. People used to make fun of me for that. Read books, read philosophy. The people I related to the most was white kids and Asian kids. Oh, you trying to be white so bad. What? So learning how to read, having interest in philosophy, the meaning of life, politics, that makes me white? Me being good at math, me being smart makes me white? I'm perpetrating white culture? This is how racism holds black people back. Because based on their race, they demonize and shame other black people that takes on behaviors that's actually going to make them successful in life. Like this dude here. Raised by he's half Asian. So he got that Asian upbringing. Hey, my kids, their curriculum, Kumon. I always brag about this on my channel. I homeschool my kids. They read Kumon. I learned that. I got that from an Asian parent. An Asian parent, oh yeah, I put my kids on Kumon. That's how I got them started on learning math, English, and all that stuff. I said, oh, cool. And I adopted that. If I see something works, I adopt it. Asian students spend more time doing homework than black students, than white students, and Hispanic students. Is it any surprise they do so well in school? No. Okay. They're doing something that works. Let me copy what they're doing. Oh, you're trying to be Asian. This is the stuff that black community do to sabotage itself. And then when they meet a black man here, when they meet a biracial man like him who doesn't go for it, and he's eloquent how he redirect the question. He said, hey, the tension not about me, it's about the team. But this is the kind of thinking that black liberals, they focus on. They focus on, you know what that mean? He's going to be the first black this. The first black man mayor, Brandon Johnson, is screwing over Chicago right now. I bet you they didn't like that history making. Some of the worst mayors in Chicago were black. Why? Because of identity politics. But I digress. I'm ranting.
Men like this. But this ain't about me. This is about us. And we're going to celebrate what we've done because it's something special.
Because you are the first black head coach to go to a...
Imagine, America isn't fiscalating on it. The media, politicians, too many corporate boardrooms are on target. Look, this is black culture that I have to deal with as a black man, right? That's a beige dude who married white, and they knew he was going to answer like this, so the white folks and those who pander to them would eat it up. Nothing wrong with celebrating black American achievements when they happen, though. And this is the response. I agree with Jay here. Nobody ever said it was wrong or nobody's pandering. Sad that you see it that way. The guy is likely tired of seeing the media elevate people of skin color over their actual work to make it there. Exactly. Black Americans' accomplishments deserve to be celebrated in the same way that's equal to other people. No one goes to Asian people and say, oh my God, you're the first Asian to be an Asian doctor. No one, because it's almost damn near expected. And this is the type of history. This is the wrong way to make history, right? Absolutely the wrong way to make history, right? And this is the funny part. This is why I say Democrats are making history in the wrong way, because they want to sit here and say, "Oh, we want to solve racism. We want America to stop fixating on race and people's sexuality and all this stuff." But what DEI focuses on? Your sexuality and your race. Black votes matter to many politicians, more so than black lives. That's why such politicians must try to keep black voters fearful, angry, and resentful. Racial harmony would be a political disaster for such politicians. Who's the politicians that Tom Sowell is talking about? Democrats. This is one of the number one reasons why I am anti-Democrat. Why I end up becoming damn near Republican. This is what made me a conservative. Because black Democrats will sit in my face and say, yeah, we tired of being judged by the color of our skin. We want to be judged by the content of our character. But as soon as that black Democrat failed a math test, he want to blame the math test. When I saw him screwing around, playing around on the basketball court instead of actually studying for the test, and then he want to blame the test. Oh, the teachers didn't teach us this stuff. The teacher told you to review the material. If you reviewed the material, you would have seen these questions before, and you would have been prepared for the test. And this is the problem. This is what happens with black Democrats, and why I got turned off by black Democrats is that they like to use racism like an alibi, right? And I'm showing you accounts from black conservative accounts, one that's more pro-black. But look at this pastor, so-called pastor. This is what black conservatives have to deal with, right? I'm giving you a snippet here. Not you being triggered by being called a coon, Greg, like he's rolling on the effing ground. Sir, you prostitute your blackness for white Magites daily. Just accept who you are and what you are and get your 30 pieces of silver, homie. Right? No, these dudes be thinking they're big and bad, bruh. Some of the softest people I know in my life are black Democrats. Dudes like this guy. Soft-spoken, sound weird. I remember, pet peeve of mine, I remember whenever I do videos and I hear a black Democrat talking, I'm like, why they sound so soft? Why there's no bass in this dude's voice? That's black Democrats for you. Roland Martin, high-pitched ass voice. A whole lot of estrogen. When you're a fat man, you have a lot of estrogen. That's why I'm saying that. The response, a fake black pastor who prostitutes his blackness for white liberals is triggered because he believes I make more money than him. These people have an inferiority complex, and that's the point. They want black Democrats to know that for them to maintain their political influence over the black community, and I think that's what's really holding black people back, is the fact that we're culturally dominated by the ideas and the political ideology of the Democratic Party and the left. 77% of black men vote Democrat. 90, I'm trying to remember the numbers to be accurate. 95% of black women vote Democrat. So the left has a cultural dominance over the black community, and this dude here thinks being pro-black means being pro-Democrat, and it's not the case. How is it pro-black to be a minority? How are you only 30% of the population, but black women are responsible for 40% of abortions? Does that sound pro-black to you? But they have black women night and day praising this stuff, wishing for abortion. Last time I checked, the left believe that if something disproportionately affects black people, it's racist. So is abortion racist? Ask this pastor, this black Democrat. Doesn't that make him a coon? You celebrating something that disproportionately affects black people in a negative light. You 30% of the population, but you kill 40% of your babies. You're responsible. 40% of babies that are aborted are black. And you defend a party. You associate your blackness with a party that says that's okay. When Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret Sanger, a racist who considered black people weeds in this country, you're doing her work. How are you not a coon, black Democrat? How are you not a coon? And this is why I say black Democrats project everything that they are onto black conservatives. At least I can defend why I'm a conservative, why I believe the things that I believe. The difference between a black conservative and a black Democrat is a black conservative just have a different approach to solving the problems that affects the black community. A black Democrat wants politicians to fix their problems. A black conservative says, hey, I want the politician to get out of my way and create an environment where I can help myself. That's what makes me a black conservative. And I'm tired of the gaslighting from black Democrats, bro. Like it's some of the most infuriating things that's ever happened to me in my life. When black Democrats sitting up in here calling you a coon, calling you names, and then when you put the issues in their face, you find out they're on the wrong side of every damn issue, damn near. How can you support the Democratic Party when they did the Great Society Act that incentivized black women to be single moms for men to abandon their children? And we know the statistics if you're raised by a single mom. Single moms are more prone to poverty than married people. If you look at the poverty rates of black married couples versus single white women, black married couples are less prone to poverty than a single white mother. So if white supremacy was the biggest problem stopping black America, how come two married black people are less poor or less likely to be poor than a single white woman? Make it make sense. But this is the Democratic Party for you. They incentivize you. They create a culture and environment that lead you to make decisions and bad habits that give you bad outcomes. And when I come here, little old me come here and say, hey, black people, insanity is voting for the same party over and over again and expecting a different result. They call you coon for that. Make it make sense. How are you not the coon for defending a party that's not doing anything that's helping the black community progress? And I think that's the number one thing holding black culture back. Let me look into the comments. Dance with Incel says, the black community has a long way to go. I read that comment, actually. Ronnie Rush, I appreciate you. Ronnie Rush says that you gotta get more subs, bro. I'll be sharing your content. I appreciate that, Ronnie Rush. Dance with Incels again. Once someone uses the term blackness, you can just dismiss everything they say. Apparently, yes. When someone leading with their identity, something that they had no control over, like that don't tell me nothing about you. In my honest estimation, I can learn more about you based on what you choose to like than how you were born. If I say, oh, look at that black man over there, I didn't tell you anything about a person. But if I say, look at that Christian man over there, you know a lot more about that person, at least more than his skin color. Your skin color don't tell you nothing about yourself. My argument is a black Christian man will have more in common with a white Christian man than a black atheist. True or not? But these people, these Democrats, these pro-black, these fake pro-blacks, they wear pro-black like a skin suit and pretend that they're actually pro-black. And this is why I said the Democrats make history in the wrong way. You know, if you want to know, right? Share this video to all your black Democrat friends. Oh, I can't understand black people who become Republican. This is how a black man becomes Republican. I'm gonna show you the clip. Let's listen, because I need to give my voice a break. I went on like a 10-minute rant. So let's see how do a black man become a Republican? Let's take a look.
On a daily basis, I get at least one variation of the question, how can you as a black man be a Republican? How can you as a black man be a conservative? And my answer for that is simple. When you are a black man who researches for himself as opposed to being led by the rest of the sheep on the Democratic plantation, you start to realize that the Republican Party is historically the party for black people.
Now, I'm going to stop him right there. What is the easiest way a black man can be politically? A Democrat or a Republican? If by nature, right, by the culture that I grew up in, if you don't do any research, you'll default into being a liberal, into a Democrat, because 77% of your community are Democrats. So you're around a bunch of Democrats. So you're more likely to be influenced. So if someone breaks the trend, it is more likely that they're more well-researched about they're more justified or more researched about breaking the trend, because that wasn't what was given to them as the first option. Just like a dude who date out, right? I gotta admit, I really find Democratic plantation cringe as F. But it's so, I guess Dance with Incels, it's so true though. LOL, my name is, I don't know what it is. It means master poster. Can I post here? Oh, I think I got a troll account. Who knows? Who cares? You can post here, bro. I don't mind. But the Democratic plantation, the reason why it works so well is because the argument is the history of the Democrats is they had us in a physical plantation. Now in 2020 and beyond, they have you more like in a mental plantation. And that's why I think the Democratic plantation thing really works. And it's a way that black conservatives tend to use that to piss off black Democrats, because black Democrats always try to pretend that the Republicans are going to put you back in chains. But it's their party that's sitting here shaming you, calling you slurs like coon, Uncle Sambo, Uncle Tom. They're the ones calling you names for doing something using your freedom of expression. But because I express a view that goes contrary to what they believe, they want to call you names. This is why we call it the Democratic plantation. Where's the party in the opposition that has been declared as communistic by the opponents in power? Where's the opposition that has not hurled back the branding reproach of communism against the most advanced? What the heck? Where is it? Manifesto history out of the Freedmen's Pavements Rotation. Democrats. I think we got a bot in the chat. I think we do, bro. The bourgeoisie, all that sound like communistic thinking to me. I'm not a communist. Anyway, end of the day, socialism leads to communism. Socialism is slavery. That's just my estimation. And let me see. Yeah, I banned the bot. Don't worry about it. The feudal system, what the hell? How are you still posting? Ban the bot, bro. Go to channel pins. I think I got him out, but just in case, I'll do it again. What the? Man stopping the stream. Feudal nobility. What? Report. Okay. I dealt with the guy. So, where was that? Socialism is slavery, and we'll continue because I got my trainer got disrupted.
In 1854 is the formation of the Republican Party, or what is now known as the Republican Party. They appoint their first president, Abraham Lincoln, who is technically the first Republican president. Now, what does Abe Lincoln and the rest of the Republican Party do? Well, simple. They do this little known thing. What was it? The abolition of slavery. So that was the first part. As the Democrats were fighting tooth and nail to keep slavery intact, the Republican Party won the Civil War, ending slavery. Now we have 1870.
And the reason why I say socialism is slavery is because of the fact that socialism is we get to benefit off your labor, and the administrative state, aka the big house, gets to manage how those resources are divided up against the populace, right? And there's a famous thing I always point to him. His name is George Fitzhugh, and he's labeled the honest socialist because he admits that, hey, socialist, he bragged about it. Hey, the slave has it better than the free man, because when the slave gets hurt, gets injured, starving, or he no longer can work, the slave masters must take care of the slave from cradle to grave. And this guy, the honest socialist, was trying to convince free people to become slaves, but not just to the government, not just to the big house, but also to the government. Because as he saw it, he saw slavery as the purest, most basic form of socialism. You work, I get to profit off your labor, I get to manage your labor, and also get to manage the production of your labor. So if you went out there, you raked the leaves, you farmed the land, you took care of the soil, and it created apples, I get to manage those apples. I get to choose how these apples get dispersed. I didn't have to work a single dime for it, but because I'm in a position of power, I'm an administrator, aka the administrative state. I get to decide who gets it, who don't get it, who's worth giving it to, who's not worth giving it to, who gets it, who don't get it. This is why I say socialism is slavery. So this is why, like, when a lot of black people, they're like, oh, I'm a Marxist, I'm a communist, I'm all this. I just see it as you just want to be white. why you had a problem with slavery, because that's what communism and socialism is. It's slavery. I digress, though.
70, where Jim Crow laws are instituted by none other than the Democratic Party. Back to their old ways as per usual. What do we expect? However, in those next 100
Worst ways
years
to make history.
before the abolition of Jim Crow laws, the Republican Party would appoint their first black senator in the 1800s. And after that, they will be the only ones to appoint black senators and black governors and female senators and Hispanic senators.
Imagine that. And then we have this misconstrued idea that Democrats are the ones that push the first this, the first that. This is why I think the Democrats are so desperate to push out this first narrative, because they know, when you look at the long tenured history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, you know that the Democrats are the party of discrimination. The Democrats are the ones that held back black people from reaching power. Look at Woodrow Wilson, the one who made Birth of the Nation, the one who essentially radicalized white people to be Ku Klux Klan members. Will Wilson. Sorry, I forgot his name. Wilson. I don't know. President Wilson. He propagandized the American populace, and he created the KKK essentially to give this image. Oh, if you hire black congressmen, they'll eat chicken on the Congress floor. They won't have no respect for etiquette. Right? They put that narrative around. They radicalize people. And look what they're doing now. Oh my God, you're denying trans people's existence. And now you got these radical trans people hurting people, attacking people, stabbing people. Same tactics. All they did was change the target. Now, instead of targeting against black people, they discriminate for black people. They never changed their messaging. They just changed their approach. I'm going to have these ninjas voting Democrat for 200 years. Democrats have a tendency to make history in the worst way. But I digress. I'll let the video play out.
All the way until, I believe, 1970. So, yeah, there's that part. Now we creep up to 1964, where Lyndon Baines Johnson is forced to sign the Civil Rights Act. Forced, mind you, because it had passed through the Senate and the House, which were both majority Republican. Now, unfortunately, it took 70 long days to get this damn bill through. Why? Because the Democrats, back to their old ways, filibustered the bill, which means they stalled it for 7.
Don't this describe the Democrat Party right now in 2024, 2025? Contest elections when they lose, right? Always have some BS excuse. Oh, we got to prevent Donald Trump from being on the ballot. The Democrat Party never changed. But black Democrats calling me coon. Get out of here, bro. I believe some of the most ignorant black people are black Democrats. I'm just saying. That's just my thoughts. I probably offended somebody, but that's just my thoughts. Some of the most ignorant people are black Democrats. Because you represent, you didn't have to do no real research or soul searching to arrive to the conclusions. You just believe what's been told to you. You believe the previous generation and thinking that's the play for this generation. It's not. If I want something different, why should I continue voting for a party that black people have been majority supporting for 60 plus years and still complain about racism, still complain how they're at the bottom, still complain that there's not much progress? Why want to keep rewarding a party when the things that they advocate for, the things that they put in place has not even given the outcomes that black people can feel satisfied about? But in the same breath, they want to give all the credit for my success to affirmative action DEI. Oh, if it wasn't for affirmative action, Kenny, you wouldn't have the opportunities you have. BS. If you put the way I speak, you don't change nothing about me but my skin color. You would have said, oh, typical white man. You successful? Yeah, of course you have a stay-at-home wife. Of course you're married with 2 kids at the age of 28. Of course you have a home. You're a white man. But because I'm black, people want to give credit to affirmative action. Oh, if it wasn't for affirmative action, Kenny, you wouldn't even never get to the places that you got to. What? So my hard work didn't do that? My time studying didn't do that? My own efforts, my own actions and decision-making didn't get me to this place? Oh, it's because of affirmative action. Of course. I can't, this is the problem I have with affirmative action DEI. This is why I have such a problem with it. It's because it's doomed damn if you do, damn if you don't. If I say DEI is not needed, people are going to try to people are going to try to give DEI credit for my successes in life, when the successes in life that I experience is due to the fact of my own actions and decisions. The reason why I'm here and another black man is somewhere else is because me and that other black man made different decisions. And if we made different decisions, that means we're entitled to different outcomes. That's it. But this is the racist game that Democrats and many people on the left tries to play. When someone says that I don't need the government, I don't need the government to do anything for me. Government do nothing for me. When you're a black man spewing that message, they'll try to find ways to discredit you, try to give credit to affirmative action, to something that they're doing. Oh, you're only successful because of what we do. Lie. I'm on a diet, so I don't eat fried food anymore. Exactly. Black people have a high obesity rate, and they complain about that high obesity rate. But I look at the food they're eating, and I look at the food I'm eating, I'm like, yo, you can't compare. You eat McDonald's, KFC, chicken all damn day. I barely eat out. I barely go out to eat, and you're mad that I look like this and you look like that. But you're going to blame racism, black women out here. It's because of racism that my metabolism is slow and I gain all this weight. No, it's because you eat. The choices and decisions you make. And the reason why black liberals cannot give up the notion of racism is like what I stated earlier in this video. Racism is an alibi for black liberals. And if you remove racism out of the equation, you took the black Democrats' alibi for all the negative outcomes that they have in life, for all the failings they have in life, all the shortcomings the black community experience. If you remove racism, this is why they fight so desperately to maintain racism in our public discourse, because they want to continue using racism as an alibi. But I digress. I think I went on a long rant. I need this video to finish because my voice is starting to crack.
70 days straight, they said nay, 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 and we said yay, yay, yay. And eventually the yay, yay, yay won out. Lyndon Baines Johnson is forced into signing the bill. So some would ask, so if they're so pro, black people, then why aren't they doing anything for black folk now? Well, the answer for that is simple. And it's best said by Dr. Carol Swain. She says, because they view you as equals, not as a lesser than. And this is the entire ruse, the entire game. The Democrats see black people as somebody who needs a handout in order to make it in life, as lesser than, just like they did before. Remember? Less than a human. And so it's interesting how, fast forward today, we have them doing the very same thing. Oh, black people, you poor black people. I know you can't do for yourself. Here's welfare. Here's Section 8.
The bigotry of low expectations. Oh, you can't pass a math test. It's not the fact that you didn't study, you didn't prepare for the test. It's because the math test was racist. And black people eat it up because they're looking for confirmation bias. They're looking for an alibi. They're looking for an excuse to absolve them of personal responsibility. Hey, Kenny, what do you think of the term woke right? It's a dumb term. I think if you're conservative, there's no way you can be woke. But that's another thing for another day. Let me finish out this video, and then I guess I could wrap up with the woke right stuff.
Oh, mind you, you need us. You can't do for yourself. Whereas the Republican Party says, look, I believe you can at least pull yourself up. You have the resources. The laws are now in the favor of all people who execute. Do the damn thing. So that right there, I guess is a brief answer as to how I, a black man, can be a Republican.
Exactly. Exactly. So going on to Dance with Incel's question, I think I'm at a good place where I could start slowly wrapping up. There's another thing I wanted to highlight. But I think this will coincide with what Dance with Incel brought up about woke right. Right? I don't believe in the woke right. Woke right to me is a term created by conservative liberals that still want to pretend that they're liberal, like James Lindsay, Kizzen. And Kizzen's from the UK, so I don't even respect his opinion when he's trying to encapsulate the right. The woke right, what I noticed is someone who's considered a nationalist, which I am. I'm a nationalist. I believe the interests of my people shall be priority over everyone else, right? So when it comes to H-1B1s, I have a problem with that. And it seemed like the term woke right is used almost the same way that the woke left use racism, sexism, a homophobia, calling you a Nazi. Woke right is just an insult from people who in reality is actually woke right. Like, think about it. James Lindsay is trying to, how you say this, character assassinate you with woke right. What you're mad about? Oh, if you point out the fact that DEI discriminates against white straight men. Does it not? Did we not just figure out that California's fire department had a DEI initiative, the DEI program, which caused a shortage in firemen, and they were discriminating against white dudes? Everyone knows that if you put DEI in place, it discriminates against the larger racial group that usually participates in that industry. AKA, if I apply DEI to MBA, I'll be discriminating against black men. But James Lindsay types will say, oh, that's wokeism because you pointed out that a certain racial group is being affected by a policy change. That's essentially what woke right is. But to me, woke right is being used as a slander to hurt the credibility of someone else, right? And you see this term being used by James Lindsay against Tucker Carlson. What makes Tucker Carlson woke right? Oh, he criticizes his government and how his government operates. Duh. So libertarians are woke right now, huh? And the funny part is James Lindsay is the very thing he accused Tucker Carlson of. If you say anything negative about Israel, you woke right. Why? Because they think there's some racial component to it. Oh, you making white men a victim group. Are white men discriminated against in DEI? The answer is yes. Asians and white men are the most discriminated against people when it comes to DEI. Pointing that out does not make you woke. It means you're telling the truth. Wokeness, in my eyes, is you're trying to perpetrate a narrative to prove that some type of discrimination exists. For instance, black men not graduating college, you'll say it's because of systematic racism. That's wokeness. Because you can't prove or you have no evidence to suggest that systematic racism is holding black people back. That's what makes you woke in my eyes. But if you have evidence to suggest, hey, look, this is how DEI discriminates against white people. Hey, look, Kenny, there's this lawsuit that a white woman in Starbucks won against Starbucks because they fired her because of her skin color. If I find evidence of something that's backing up your claim about white people being discriminated against, that doesn't make you woke. Making you woke is trying to get someone to believe in a perception that's not true. So I don't understand where this woke right stuff comes from. And it's something that they've been trying to get it to take off, but it ain't working. I don't think no one's really buying it. But that's just my thoughts on woke right. I think it's a dumb term. I think the people who try to use it, they're merely is merely a slur, is merely a tactic to try to like character assassinate somebody that they're targeting, right? And you see it mostly commonly used with, I think, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, people who I may not agree with everything they say, but they have some evidence to suggest something. At least they have something to reference that back up what they're trying to tell you, right? And just because it goes against a certain popular narrative like Israel doesn't necessarily make them woke. They're just saying, hey, look, Americans have been giving billions of dollars to Israel. If Israel's an ally, they should stop taking our money. The same way we told Canada, hey, Canada, if you have to rip us off to survive, it's time to become the first state. Nonetheless, the Gophers are becoming a real problem for the right. Gophers, I don't know much about them. But I know Nick Fuentes. I know of him, right? But to me, the Gophers are no any more different than progressives, like the black Marxists, like black people that say that white people are the devil. That's how I see them. Like you can never escape extremism. Extremism is always going to exist on either party. Look at the guy that spammed the chat. He's a communist. I see communists at the same level that I see the Gophers, right? They participate in identity politics, fine, right? But I don't think they're woke. Right? Because woke gets you to believe in a perception. Gophers are just like, hey, look, white European men built this country, and sure, but other groups of people contributed to this country. Italian Americans contributed to this country. Black Americans contributed to this country. Asian Americans contributed to this country. Many people contributed to this country that made America the state that it is today, right? And it's just a philosophical disagreement we have with the Gophers, because the Gophers, in some ways, they want to prioritize the racial supremacy, right? The same way I have a problem with Zionism. How come Zionism isn't seen as woke? I'm just saying, Zionism is the belief that Jewish people are God's chosen people. They're the superior race, and how come why we don't have a problem with that? But we have a problem with white people saying the same thing that black people have been saying all the time. I'm a black supremacist. You hear black people with their chest saying that black people are the superior race. Black people built everything. That white people only got to the position of power because they stole from black people. Have you seen Black Panther? These people pretend that Africa was Wakanda. And my only argument is, and this is how I know that I'm past identity politics, is that I don't like racial supremacists, no matter your skin color, no matter your ethnic group, whether you're black, Jewish, white. I don't like racial supremacists. I don't like this idea that, because of your race, you think you're inherently superior to somebody else. No. Now, if you point out a matter of fact, hey, this country was started by mostly European men that came from the United Kingdom. Okay, you're pointing something of fact. But if you're trying to say something like, oh, black people built this country, black people built the White House. Huh? Black people built the White House? Really? You really think so? Okay, if black people were so good, how come black people can't get themselves out of the situation that they're in now? If black people were so superior. Dancing with Insel said, I have to disagree with the last part. I forgot what I said in the last part, but I get what you're saying, right? I don't condone them, but extremists is always going to exist on either side. It's just, how much influence do the extremists have on your movement? And to me, the Gophers don't have much influence over the American First movement. So I don't think they're much of an issue as people try to pretend that they are, in my view. I just think this is a way for detractors or James Lindsay to try to make his point. So he tries to exaggerate the problem the same way that the left like to exaggerate climate change. I think this is what's happening with the Gophers. The Gophers are being used as a political pawn to create this necessity for the term woke right. But I get your point. If something were to fit woke right, it might be the Gophers. But even then, I have to disagree with the term woke right, because then what are they trying to get you to believe? That white people built this country? They did. They contributed in building this country, right? The founding fathers were all white European men, and we should get back to a culture centered around that. You'll disagree with them there, right? Just like Jewish people said, hey, I'm seeing it everywhere, though. Okay. I could agree to disagree. The point with woke right is, I just think it's a term used to character assassinate people. That's how I've been seeing it used lately. Like Michaela Peterson used the term woke right to disparage people who had a problem with the H-1B1. I have a problem with the H-1B1 because the H-1B1 is essentially used to lower the wages of American citizens. And my belief as a nationalist is that if your population is creating an environment, they should be the people who benefit the most from it. That's all I'm trying to say here. But I have an interesting story to close out the live stream. I think I've been making good time. My hard stop here will be at 7:20 p.m. Eastern time. So I got 8 minutes left. So let's see if I can wrap this up in 8 minutes. So I want to show you this news story about another bad way that DEI or Democrats are making history in a bad way. Is that a 26-year-old, I think he's 26. Give me a sec to see. A 26-year-old Democrat mayor of Bugalizia, Louisiana, was arrested for allegedly taking part in a drug trafficking ring using public funds for prostitution and gun charges. Yeah, look, he fits the stereotype, huh? Let's listen to the story, and then I'm going to use this to bash Democrats again for making history.
Bonded out, the youngest mayor in state history, making headlines for the wrong reasons today, as Tyron Trong now finds himself.
Let's hear that again. The youngest state representative in history. He's getting caught on drug trafficking and prostitution. He's using taxpayer money for drug trafficking and prostitution rings. Great way to make history as the youngest, what?
State history, making headlines for the wrong. Bonded out, the youngest mayor in state history, making headlines for the wrong reasons today.
The youngest mayor in state history used taxpayer money to fund prostitution and drug trafficking. He's a Democrat, by the way. Making history in a bad way, huh?
Today, as Tyron Trong now finds himself at the center of a criminal investigation. The 26-year-old mayor spent the day in jail facing charges of solicitation of prostitution, drug trafficking, and gun charges. And new tonight, the district attorney says Trong...
How people like this get elected, right? You got Kamala Harris, who slept her way to the top. I'm sorry. That was another biracial woman that I won't say her name. But how these people get elected? I need to see the debate. I need to see like what did they say to convince people to elect them. This is the same thing that almost like here in Florida. I'm reminded of Andrew Gillum. Andrew Gillum was going to make history as being the first black governor in Florida, right? Andrew Gillum, I think. Yeah, Andrew Gillum. And then he got caught up in a scandal too, and all of Florida was like, "Whoo, we dodged a bullet with that one." To be fair, Kayla Peterson was criticizing the needless racist insults against Indian people. Sure, but I could say that Kayla Peterson was strawmanning the argument, right? If you want to debate something in, how to say it, honestly, you'll go with the strongest argument, not point out the weakest argument. But strangely, they never criticize immigrants from Asia or Russia. Well, there's not a lot of them in there. And I work in an industry where there's a lot of Indian people, and a lot of the Indian people, majority of the H-1B ones come from India. That's a truth statement. It's not me being racist for pointing that out. The same way I'm not racist for pointing out that black men commit 50% of the crimes, even though they're only 13% of the population. So people are going to complain about, like this dude here. Look at the youngest mayor in Louisiana state history. Got caught in prostitution and drug charges, and he's a black man. If I complain about that, it doesn't make me racist. And I think this is where the woke right gets used, and this is how I see it as nothing more than a character assassination. You're trying to distract from the core of the argument, which is, hey, a certain country is exporting cheap labor, right? And our government, our industries are becoming reliant on it, and it's displacing American workers from jobs that they could be doing, like cooks, all this other stuff, tech, right? And then we got people using that fact to say, oh, these people are highly talented than you. They're more talented than you. How come there's no call of racism against Americans? Oh, you believe that because I'm American, I'm lazy? Just because I'm American, you think I can't do technology jobs, so you have to go get it from India? And I think that's where the resentment is coming from, because I think I did a video on this about the real racism debate, that a lot of these jobs, majority of them are going to immigrants, right? And I think it's just a sentiment ballooning up, right? And this is just me being fair, but to me, Michaela Peterson, she don't have a good argument to defend the H-1B one, because a lot of these Indians, they're working for cheap. They're working long hours. They're essentially indentured slaves, where if they get fired from their job, they lose their visas, and they're liable to get deported from the United States of America. So there's some balance there, right? And I agree they're short-term fix, but for the long term, a country can't rely on a workforce of a foreign country. That's just my thoughts. It's hard to talk about this subject in text. I know it is. I know. Obviously, I know what you're saying. I'm not trying to say you're being nefarious here. I'm not even saying Michaela's being nefarious here. I'm just pointing out the interest, right? Michaela benefited from H-1B1s. So to me, like just like Elon Musk benefits from H-1B1s, right? I'm an American citizen. I was born and raised here. I don't benefit from H-1B1s, but I know if I went to another country, they wouldn't be treating me the way that Americans treat a foreign worker. And I'm just saying that people are taking what Americans don't want to happen is the H-1B1 stuff being used and abused for cheap labor that's lowering our wages. And I think that's the like substantive argument. And I think that people throwing out, oh, racism, and yeah, I know people will go to race. Oh, these Indian people are taking our jobs. I understand. But it's the same argument someone said, oh, these black people are causing so much crime in our country, even though the majority of black people don't commit crimes. But the majority of criminals who do commit crimes, half of them happen to be black. right? And I think that's the nuanced argument that we're trying to have, right? And I know it's hard to do it in text, but I get what you're trying to say. I get what you're trying to say. I get the problem you're trying to point out. The same way that people are pointing out the assumption is, oh, if I see a black person, like a black engineer, I'm automatically going to assume he didn't earn that job. You can say that's racist, but a part of me is saying that the DEI created that prejudice. It's not the fact that the black man is a black man. That's why you think he's less qualified for the job. You think he's less qualified for the job because there's a system that gives him preferential treatment called DEI that's creating that assumption. It's the Charlie Kirk, oh, I can't trust a black pilot when I get in an airplane now because of the whole DEI stuff. It's the same thing. Why DEI, you see this guy, the youngest mayor in Louisiana history, and he's already giving black people a bad name.
Is just part of a larger puzzle working to defraud the city. And now the city of Bogalusa looks for a way forward if these charges end up in convictions. WDS reporter Jonah Gilmore is live in Bogalusa with the latest and the council that just had a meeting tonight. Jonah?
Imagine that. Like, he's proving every stereotype true, right? And then when people say, hey, I'm uncomfortable having a black mayor, they'll point to this as an example. And I think that's what's going on here, right? And I know, like, people like to hyper focus on race, but I think race is not as substantive, right? Virginia left without water as a pro DEI water manager sits at the helm, right? And what color she happens to be? Black, right? But me pointing that out does not make me racist. It's the same one with the H-1B one. H-1B ones, Indians tend to be the biggest percentage of H-1B ones that come into this country. Me pointing it out is not racist. I just think people are using racism as a deflection from the core argument that people are having, right? And this is why I said DEI is dying, right? Another Virginia resident left without water as pro DEI water man. The minute you see pro DEI, didn't earn it, right? And this goes into a bigger like problem that we have in our country is that we can't have like tough conversations without someone trying to throw race into the conversation, right? And if you try to remove race, people would bring it in, right? Oh, these Indians, oh, these Hispanics, oh, these black women, they always benefit from DEI, and then they're nowhere to be found when stuff hits the fan. They're incompetent. They don't know how to do their job. End of the day, what creates bias is a pattern of recognition. It's a recognition of patterns. Like that's, I won't say being prejudiced is in human nature, but it's in our nature to notice patterns. And if we notice a pattern, that's what stereotyping is, right? And just because I notice a pattern doesn't make me racist. If I notice a pattern that, hey, a black man is more likely to take my life than a white man, because if you look at the statistics, 76% of men die at the hands of black men die at the hands of other black men. If I am hesitant when I see a black dude with a hoodie, I'm not racist. It's just like, yo, I know who's a threat to me, who's a threat to my life, who's more likely to do said thing, right? It's just a pattern of behaviors. Now, you can call that prejudice. You can call that some form of racism, but I think that's something that human beings can't help but do. Now, if you have a proper explanation for that, I think it's more acceptable. But if you don't have a proper explanation for that, I think it's less acceptable. Doesn't make you racist. I think we should just be wary of those on the right who are legitimately bigoted against anyone else. I think not just against anyone on the right, but legitimately against anyone. Because I can make that same argument about progressives who think that white people are devils, demons. To me, it doesn't matter about politics to me. I want to hold everyone accountable. I don't want bigots to be anywhere, right? And this idea that, we on the right has to police our bigots, but people on the left don't have to police their bigots is a big problem. As a black conservative, I could admit that, if you look at the stats, the group of people who is most likely to be racist are black people. And many of these black people are on the left. You think the left is policing their bigots? No, they're not. They're sitting here letting, black people, we suffer for this country. Black people get all the credit. Everyone have to pay us reparations because we suffered, right? White people who had nothing to do with slavery, they had to suffer for what their ancestors did because of people who never experienced slavery because they happen to share the same skin color. Bigotry is everywhere. Bigotry is on both sides, right? But I don't think it's necessarily tied to a political side. And I think, yes, I agree. We should hold all bigots accountable, not just on the right, but on the left too. But the only problem is I see that, you know how it's the problem that you can only talk to reasonable people. And the left is so unreasonable. We don't expect the left to manage the racism or bigotry on their own side. Like, you got a taste of the left. The left got mad when they found out majority of Hispanic men voted for Donald Trump. And many people on the left assumed that, okay, when Donald Trump deport your ass, you're going to regret it. We're going to make fun of you. We ain't going to protect you when Donald Trump deport your butt. But in my head, I'm like, that's a racist thing. That's a bigoted thing to think. Look at the left. They think that a Hispanic man voting for Trump is voting against his best interest, as if there's no such thing as an Hispanic American. As if the majority of Hispanics are illegals. Make it make sense. That's a bigoted thought, don't you think? But we don't expect the left to police their own side, only the right. And I think this was caused this discrepancy in our political discourse, where you see the point is when the left do something wrong, the right will call it out. But when someone on the right do something wrong, the right will call it out and the left will call it out. And it gives this perception to someone who's not politically informed. Oh, that person did something really bad. Oh, this left-wing person did something really bad. Well, Gavin Newsom is the prime example of this. Only people on the right are calling out Gavin Newsom, right? Now, more recently, with Anna's Consparian, Cenk Yogurt, they're calling out California, but they've always been calling California a poorly run government, right? But back maybe 2016, if a conservative did something wrong, conservatives will call it out, liberals will call it out. But when a liberal do something wrong, liberals say, oh, no, we take one for the team. They didn't do anything wrong. They find excuses. They dismiss it. They try to minimize the impact. Oh, like Biden's racist joke in 2020. If you have a problem voting for whether deciding whether you're going to vote for me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black. If a Republican said that, what was going to happen? Everyone's going to hold the Republicans accountable. But because Joe Biden said that, Democrats run defense and only Republicans call it out. And I think this is the problem that I'm seeing here is that we got so used to policing our own side that we don't demand of the left to police their own side. And it's starting to become something now, but imagine it takes California going on fire for anyone to even levy criticism at Democrats at this moment in time. Also, please watch Angel's Eggs and American Psycho already. Dance with Incels. I'll write it down for you. American Psycho and Angel's Egg. I wrote it down. See, I wrote it down. All right, guys. I think that's all I had for today. I think I went on a long tangent. I went over 7 minutes, but that's okay. It's always fun chatting with you guys. Always fun chatting with the chat. Don't forget to like the video on your way out, guys. I appreciate you guys for watching this 1 hour and 27 minute stream. I appreciate the conversations. We experience bots, right? We see Democrat hypocrisy. We see how not to make history. I think we got through a lot. Good night, guys. I hope you got a wonderful weekend. I hope you guys rest up. Hopefully the weekend's not too tough on you guys. And I'll catch you guys on the next live stream next Friday. Hopefully next Friday. Yeah, next Friday. Maybe more news will come up. We'll see what's going on. And I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the stream. I'll catch you guys next week and have a good weekend. Peace. So we gotta end the stream.